Almost.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to day 2 of the 2018 Nash Columbia Gorge Paddle Challenge. We're getting ready for the Elite Women's Super Lap Final, followed by the Men's Elite Super Lap Final. We're going to do some special introduction for the Elite Women. So the cam is going to walk downstairs. We're going to see the intros. And then in about 5 minutes' time, the women are going to hit the water for a 4-lap Super Lap Showdown. So let's get into it. Beautiful sunny day here in Hood River. Quick weather report.
And ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to introduce from the Czech Republic, living in Alabama, we'd like to welcome Adele Umanova to the Elite Women's Final. And introducing out of Miami, Florida, also known as KK, Karen Kennedy. The youngster from California, 22nd place yesterday in the double downwind, Abby Baker. All the way from the island of Oahu. She loves coming to this event, 23rd yesterday, 15th in the course race last year, Jennifer Lee. Introducing one of our young up-and-coming superstars, 14th place in the Carolina Cup, 21st yesterday in the double downwind, Maddie Miller. And would like to introduce the local from just around the corner. She was 18th yesterday, 17th in the course race last year, Sarah Sandstrom. We'd like to introduce the 3-time Mexican national champion, 11th place in this race last year, 12th in this year's Carolina Cup, Erica Benitez. And introducing from Maui, she was 17th yesterday, first time at the Nash Columbia Gorge Paddle Challenge, Laura Clayton. And introducing, with a 15th place in last year's course race, 15th in Carolina Cup, Kimberly Barnes. All the way from Canada, she was 16th yesterday, 14th in this event last year, 14th at last year's Pacific Paddle Games, Shannon Bell. All the way from New York, but she's likes to call herself a Hood River resident. She's been here for a month. 14th place yesterday, Stephanie Scheidler. And introducing from San Clemente, California, your 3-time winner of this event, 12th yesterday, 3rd in this event last year, Candace Appleby. And gambate to our competitor from Japan. She was 11th yesterday, 9th place in the Carolina Cup, Yuka Sato. And out of Laguna Hills, it is the birthday girl, turning 16 today, 10th place yesterday, 8th place in this race last year, 1st in the Pacific Paddle Games Junior Pro, Jade Birthday Girl Hausen. Jade will spare you the happy birthday. And all the way from France, she was 9th yesterday, 2nd in the Carolina Cup, 2nd at the ISA, 3rd in the PPG last year, the one and only Olivia Piana. Out of Dana Point, California, she was 8th yesterday, 4th in this event last year, 2nd place at the Pacific Paddle Games course race, Shay Foudy. And out of North Carolina, via Santa Barbara, 5th place yesterday with a fantastic showing. 7th in this race last year. 4th in the Carolina Cup. April Zilg. And introducing out of Australia, 7th place yesterday. She's always stands out in this event. From One Sup, the semi-local Angela Jackson. Coming off an amazing finish yesterday with a 6th place in the double down win. She was 5th here last year, 5th at the Carolina Cup, 4th at last year's PPG course race. Say show! With the patented cartwheel. Patent pending. And out of Australia, our current Molokai to Oahu champion. She was 3rd overall yesterday. 3rd in the ISA course race. 6th place last year in this event. Tareen Black. And introducing from France, in her first showing ever at the Nash Columbia Gorge Paddle Challenge, she was 4th overall yesterday, 9th place at the ISA course race, Amadine Chazot. Not here. Oh, we missed one. How did we miss Amazine? And finishing up our final competitor from Hood River, Oregon, 3-time downwind champion, 2-time overall champion, Fiona Wylde. Ladies, start your engines. Is that a thing? Start your engines? I don't think that's a thing, Bart, but we're starting our engines anyway. Hey, I almost had that right. Almadine was the only one that we missed, so
Pretty slick.
not bad.
Al would have been proud.
She's on the start list, though.
Alrighty, good work, AV. Pleasure to be up with you here in the booth. It's going to be a cracker of a race. A bit of wind, nice tricky technical course. This crazy super lap concept just to throw a cat amongst the pigeons.
Yeah, come on up.
So we're going to be broadcasting these finals live on the Paddle League Facebook page. If you want to tell your friends and family around the world, jump on and watch these star women do their thing. AV, any last minute predictions? You can just whisper it so you don't jinx anyone.
Well, it's okay about jinxing. One of my predictions is not racing, and Annie Reichart, I thought she'd do very well. But I'm going to go with what I was saying yesterday. This could possibly be the year that that Fiona Wylde wins this race. She's won everything else here. She's the overall champion from the previous 2 years, and she's been looking solid all year through the Paddle League. So Fiona Wylde's going to be my favorite, but all of these girls train so hard. I know April's been putting in a lot of time in the wind, as has Seychelles. You can never count out Tareen Black. Candace Appleby's won this race 3 times and maybe having a little bit of a disappointing showing yesterday, so she's always one to watch. Last year's champion not here, the 4-time champion Annabelle. So we're going to have a new champion today. Who will it be?
Could be the birthday girl. 16 years of age, Jade Housen. Happy birthday. You're making the rest of us feel very old. But it's going to be a show. The wind's really starting to fire, AV.
Yeah, you can hear it pick up while we were doing those introductions. And speaking of birthday girl, we have a quick shout out for Jade. Give her a good luck.
Good luck, Jade. Happy birthday.
Mo says good luck, Jade. So we brought her up to give you a good luck. And look at the strategy. You see Angie Jackson, the semi-local resident. She's all the way on the eastern end of the course, perhaps to have smooth water to paddle in. Those One Sup boards do a great job of combating the wind. Shannon Bell's coming over to this side, as is Jen Lee. And you can see a little bit of repositioning and shoveling. Tareen Black's right in the middle. Seychelles up on top. So, yeah, a couple of different strategies, Chris, for the start.
Get it, ladies.
Yeah, who's going to get that golden boy money shot, AV? Just a quick heads up to anybody flying drones here down at the Waterfront Park. You're more than welcome to do so, but we do have the official media drone for the live stream that's going in the air now. So just make sure you stay well clear of that. We don't need any drone wars going on up there. But no, it's going to be a cracking race. Again, if you've got friends and family watching around the world, tell them to tune in on the Paddle League Facebook page, because these ladies are going to give us a show, AV.
Yeah, and if you're flying a drone, you better be good because it's windy out there, so you better use all that tilting and things that you guys need to do with those drones. And I love this interesting technique by Angie Jackson. She's had some great finishes over the years, and they've got the 2-minute flag up.
2 minutes, guys, 2 minutes.
And then within a minute, they'll drop the 2-minute flag, and then Steve Gates, our race director, will be able to start it at any point after that. So we're still under the red flag. It's intense. You can see the focus on the girls' faces, all of them looking out to the first buoy. And 1 minute, it can now start at any time.
They're off. Who's going to get the fast start here? Nice little move from Seychelles in the end. Just took a few extra strokes. Angie Jackson's got the clean water closest to us on that one board, but Tareen Black in the middle on the ECS. QB paddle in hand. She's flying out in the middle. The birthday girl, Jade Housen AV, right next to Seychelles up at the top there.
Go, Jade!
Yeah, Jade Housen is one of the fastest sprinters here. Seychelles with a great start. It was those couple of extra steps with the bunny hopping. So she took a couple strokes, a couple of steps before she took any strokes. Candace Appleby also in there. Tareen Black is in there. So this first turning buoy is really going to set the tone for the rest of the first lap.
Yeah, absolutely, and thanks to the live stream crew for bringing us the live drone footage. If you're watching around the world or if you're here in the waterfront Parker Hood River, you got a front row seat for one of the best races of the season, the Nash Columbia Gorge Paddle Challenge. Beautiful sunny day here, but here charging out to that first tiny little golden buoy, the triangular Nash buoy. Buoy as Americans call it, boy for the Aussies. Who's going to get it? Alrighty, so you're actually going to get a much better view on the live stream than we are up here on the tower. We're about 500 meters away, but the drone's getting right up nice and close. A tight turn. Looks like Seychelles might have got her nose around just in front there.
Yep, Seychelles. Yuka Sato is in there, as well as Olivia Piana, Candace Appleby, and Shea Foudy teammates right there. So it's Olivia Piana on closest to us on the 425, Yuka Sato on the starboard, Seychelles on the SIC, and then Candace and Shea on the 2 Infinities. There's your top 5 right now. Yeah, it could be Fiona. Yeah, excuse me, that is going to be Fiona Wylde and not Yuka Sato. A lot of times they wear the same color shorts, but that is Fiona Wylde, and she's going to set herself up. Pressure is a privilege, and she's definitely put some pressure on herself today, from me at least, because I really want her to win this race.
Yeah, Fiona takes out this elite super lap. It's really going to put one of the final feathers in her cap. But Seychelles, just such a strong athlete. You can see she's really grinding into that headwind section. Olivia Piana as well, definitely one of the strongest competitors on the water. So I think Fiona's going to try and play it smart here. You can see she's getting in just on the tail of Olivia, letting the leading ladies do a little bit more of the work. Looks like Shea Foudy's grinding away there in about 4th. Angie Jackson coming up the inside as well. Birthday girl Jade Housen sitting about 6th or 7th at the moment. Yuka Sato, the mystery girl, is actually not far behind where you called AV. She's moved up into about 6th position. But right now, Seychelles, representing Team SIC out of the East Coast. She's won the 11 City Tour twice, and I'm standing next to the man who's won it 4 times, Bartjes Watt. He can attest to how strong you need to be to win that, both mentally and physically. So Seychelles, this tough headwind won't bother her. But as soon as they round this far marker buoy, with the Nash logos emblazoned all over it, they're going to get a nice free ride all the way back to the east end of the course.
And you know who's hungry is Olivia Piana. She's had one of the most consistent years, I would say, yesterday with a 9th place finish. She was 2nd at the Carolina Cup this year. She was 2nd in the ISA course race, 3rd place PPG course race. So she's looking to put a number 1 on her resume here at the Nash Columbia Gorge Paddle Challenge. So watch out for Olivia Piana. She's so very consistent in every single race, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely right. Olivia Piana, definitely one of the ones to watch today and virtually in any race. She had some classic battles over there in Europe with Sonny Honshid. Actually, the only one of the few women to beat Sonny this year is Olivia Piana. The other woman to beat Sonny, the ratings leader, is out there as well in Tareen Black when Tareen won Molokai for the 2nd time just a few weeks ago. So virtually all of the top names. We're only missing Sonny, who's actually opening an art exhibition in Germany this weekend, and Annabelle Anderson, who's out injured this season. But so many top names out there as we see the bumps really starting to run AV. This has turned into a mini downwinder.
Yeah, so we've got Fiona Wylde and Seychelles out there making that first turn on that farthest buoy on the Washington side. Shay Foudy with a first place in London a few weeks ago. She's in great form. Olivia Piana in there as well. So that's the top four that have distanced themselves from the second pack of Yuka Sato, Angie Jackson, and Tareen Black.
Yes.
Angie goes down. Angie just fell right there at that turning buoy. So she's going from 6th place to 9th place just like that. And Fiona just putting, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's got to hurt a little bit as well because Andy just rounded that buoy and saw a beautiful downwind run, but caught a rail and went in. You can see how good the bumps are now. Fiona Wylde's pulled away by about 10, 15 metres, 40, 50 feet in the space of about 10 or 15 seconds. So that's Fiona Wylde, the grand champion from the double downwinder yesterday, AV, rounding that far eastern Nash buoy. And Seychelles, Shay, Olivia are trying to not let her out of her sights.
And we've been talking about Fiona Wylde making history. So far, Candace Appleby and Annabelle Anderson, the only two to win the downwind race and the course race in the same year at the Nash Columbia Gorge Paddle Challenge. Fiona Wylde is looking to do that this year. She won both races yesterday, was the overall champion, and she's looking to make history once again. If I were from Hood River, every single time Fiona Wylde comes around those inside buoys, I would go absolutely crazy. Your energy can and will help Fiona take out this crown, beating these top girls from all over the world. Your local homegrown girl through the Jet team is now in first place and looking to win this course race for the first time in her career.
Yeah, give Fiona and all the ladies a big cheer as they're coming towards the end of their first lap. We'll see who plays strategic and takes that super lap. But you can see here this headwind grind. Fiona would much rather be paddling the other way right now. But Seychelles kind of just smells an opening, and you can see that you really got to bend over, almost hunchback and Notre Dame style when it goes headwind AV and grind it out. The other lady's going to get a little bit of the free ride if they can get onto Fiona's tail. You can see Shay sitting behind Seychelles there. Olivia just scratching to stay in touch. Then a bit of a gap back. Looks like Candace and Yuka, Jade, April, and Angie working hard from 5th through 9th.
And April Zilligan there as well. And Candace is the big mover on that leg. She was at the back of that pack coming around that eastern turning buoy. Candace not only pushed herself to the front of that pack, but she's trying to get in there with that top group. It's going to be hard to catch that group unless you get on that draft train. But right now, there's your top four. Your local girl, Fiona Wylde, followed by Seychelles from Florida, Shay Foudy from Dana Point, California, and Olivia Piana from France.
Oh, this is my favorite part of the course, AV, when they come into this epic little W. They go zip, zip, zipping around this little W shape here. And Fiona Wylde's going to take the first zip around this Nash buoy. But if she looks behind her, she's going to see Seychelles right on her tail, followed by Shay Foudy, who's been in great form this season. Olivia Piana just takes the hat off. She's overheating, and Olivia goes the super lap. Wow, so a very strategic move right there. The opening lap, she's rolled the dice, AV. What do you reckon about that move? Kind of bold.
I think she had to do something right there because Fiona had such a great first leg. Olivia says, you know what, I'm just going to try something different. You never know what's going to happen. It may just wind up like the men's did when we saw Connor Baxter take it early, and then when Noik took his, they wound up right at the same. Angie Jackson taking her hot lap. But right now, Olivia Piana virtually in first place with the super lap. The hot lap she just took. Angie Jackson took it as well. Candace Appleby coming by. Yuka Sato. There's Shannon Bell from Canada. Sarah Sandstrom, Stephanie Scheidler. Kim Barnes right there in there as well. Tareen Black just behind. Abby Baker, one of the Groms stepping up. Erica Benitez, Jen Lee, and Fiona Wylde through this infamous W has put 3 board lengths on Seychelles. So Fiona Wylde, third place, kind of first place. Tareen Black taking her super lap.
Hey, Andrew, don't.
Abby Baker, Erica Benitez, all of them taking their hot lap. And they're putting a little block on Seychelles and Shea Fowdy. So worked out well for Fiona. They set a basketball pick for her. So thanks, girls. So Fiona Wylde mixed in right there with the white shirt and pink shorts. Abby Baker on the green board. She took her hot lap. Tareen Black took her hot lap. The front two, Olivia Piana and Angie Jackson, they also took their hot lap.
Wow. That's what we love about the Super Lap race, the hot lap. Alrighty, so as the women start their second lap here, very interesting to see which of the women took the hot lap on the first one as we scroll over the beautiful Hood River Waterfront Park. For those of you watching online, we're getting a great drone shot of the setup here, all the vendors down there. So good to see them supporting this great event, the grassroots of the sport. Some fearless drone flying from our CEO, Brian Mayer, in about 30 knot winds to bring you these images. But out front, as we see a great shot, that's us in the tower in the middle of that shot. All the lovely boards lined up there on the grass. For those of you watching on the live stream, beautiful images here. Out front, nothing's changed. Olivia Piana and Angie Jackson are still working hard. They took the super lap early. Olivia's trying to break away and get some time. AV and Angie almost in. Angie's kind of almost a little bit in no woman's land at the moment. She's going to have to work hard to catch Olivia, but she's got to look over her shoulder as she zips around this buoy turn because there's a pretty strong field trying to chase her down, AV.
Yeah, and just looking back at last year's results, we see our top two not here. Candace Appleby, our top finisher that's in this field today from last year with a third place. Shea Fowdy was fourth last year. Seychelles in fifth, so not a whole lot's changed. Shea Fowdy is up in there as well as Seychelles. Newcomer, we got some drone happening. Newcomer Olivia Piana is having a great race, but right now the story is all about Fiona Wylde, and I called it yesterday because it would be such a storybook ending to a fantastic weekend, playing host all weekend to all of her friends from around the world. Fiona Wylde had her game face on all day. Her dad had a great race. Fiona was even down there caddying boards for the Opens, and your local Hood River resident is having a fantastic race, and you guys can help her keep the energy she needs in order to take this victory. But right now, Olivia Piana, she took her hot lap. So we're going to see how close the girls were able to stay to Olivia Piana. And there we see Adele Umanova. She paddled all the way from the Czech Republic. Adele, nice work. If I was in the back, I would take 3 super laps.
What can we do to get the men's announcement?
So here we go. If you're watching online, you can see on the live stream the far western buoy and those white caps just mowing down the Columbia River Gorge. There's going to be a few nice downwind runs after this race, I can tell you. It's howling here. But there come the mid-packs flying around that far western buoy, and then we're going to catch up with the leaders in a few minutes. There's some lovely trees here at the waterfront park, which give us a nice environment, atmosphere, but also make it very tricky to film this whole race from the towers. But right now, if you're watching online, you're looking from the far end of the course. We're going to switch to the ground cam in a second. Our roving reporter, Brian, down there, is going to catch some images from the back half of the course.
Exactly. I can't really.
So wait, did Seychelles take hers?
So they just passed Fiona. Is that what's happening right now? Fiona hasn't taken hers. I know, but Seychelles, she has. Or Shea. They just passed Fiona. It's just pointed down. They just passed Fiona. So that's what's happening right now.
Yeah, you want to do a quick update?
Yeah. So I've been looking at some stats and missed kind of this downwind leg. And basically what's happening right now is Seychelles has moved into first place past Fiona Wylde. Shea Fowdy is right on Seychelles' heels. Olivia Piana and Angie Jackson virtually in first and second. But from my vantage point, it looks like Shay and Seychelles have made up some of the ground. And then Fiona Wylde got passed on that downwind leg. I wasn't watching the entire leg, so not exactly sure what went down, if she fell, if she's getting tired, if the other girls just had a fantastic downwind leg. There's small little bumps, so whoever gets in tune with the river fastest is going to take advantage of those bumps. And here we have our race leader, Olivia Piana. She's got to do the whole W this time, all the way from France. She is just hungry for a win. A few seconds and thirds with some battles all through Europe, all over the world. And here she is in Hood River at the 8th annual Nash Columbia Gorge Paddle Challenge presented by Fanatic. And look at that perfect crossbow pivot turn.
Yeah, silky smooth skills from Olivia Piana there, the French woman. She's got such a great technique. That's a masterclass right there. She charges back out, zips around this W here at the waterfront park in Hood River. Angie Jackson bravely holding off the chase back. She's rolled the dice on that first lap. For now, it's paid off. She'd love to catch up to Olivia on one of the downwind legs and get a free ride as they go back upwind. But for now, she's doing all the work on her own. It's going to be very interesting, AV, to see who takes the hot lap on this second leg and tries to catch up with Olivia. Let's have a look. Here comes Seychelles and Shay. They've got the option to go right now.
Yeah, so they're finishing lap number 2. If they were to take the lap, they're going to be ahead of Olivia Piana. So we're going to see Seychelles. Can't tell if she's having a slower turn or... And Seychelles down. Shay Foudy is taking over the lead, it appears. Shay Foudy coming off of a win a few weeks ago. She still has the hot lap in her pocket. Olivia Piana already took hers. Fiona Wylde's going her hot lap. Let's cheer on Fiona Wylde, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe that was her strategy.
Wow.
Maybe that was let the other girls get ahead. And
smart.
Then their own, so they can't drop. Maybe that's her strategy, Chris Parker. Maybe she let those girls get ahead a little bit, thinking, I'm going to sneak the hot lap in. And so now, Fiona, this is make it or break it. She's got to have a huge effort to get to those downwind bumps first.
Yeah, if that was Fiona's strategy, it's absolutely brilliant racing. Maybe she was just a bit tired on the back leg, and we're giving it too much credit. But if that's a brilliant move. You're right, AV, because she's going to set herself up to break away on that back downwind stretch where we know from yesterday she's basically untouchable in these little bumps. But Olivia is going to have to fight so hard in this headwind stretch not to let her out of her sights. Yuka has now gone around in third place by the looks of it. So Angie Jackson, who took the hot lap on the first round, is into the virtual fourth. Shay Foudy, though, hasn't taken the hot lap, almost virtually, possibly in the lead, AV.
Yeah, Shay Foudy is looking strong as well. And if you see her turn, she's just textbook. She never looks out of place. All her feet are in the right place, and that board just turns fantastic. And you can see she gains a little bit of ground right there on Seychelles. So these turns are so very important. Abby Baker, the youngster, making her first elite showing here in 2018. Shay Foudy's been training with us a bit with the Performance Paddling Training Club as well as Candace Appleby. And I know Shay's been working a lot on her footwork, and her and Candace have put in a lot of time training. So although Candace is in her own race, she sees her teammate Shay up there going, come on, girl. So Candace Appleby still has her hot lap to take. April Zilg is right in there battling with Candace. Jade Housen, the birthday girl, taking her hot lap. So lap number 2 is in the books. We've got 2 more laps. So after this third lap, everyone will have taken their hot lap, and then we will know exactly what the places are. So I got to figure out who is the one guy that I missed on here. So, yep.
Excellent calling there, AV. Thank you. As we watch the women battling back out towards, if you're watching online, you'll see us looking up the Columbia River Gorge. And the women are paddling straight into a brutal headwind right now. It's blowing at least 20 knots. But that means all the pain of the headwind turns into joy as soon as you're around that buoy. Fiona Wylde has just gone around the far buoy in first. And now she gets to play in these bumps that she loves. She'll be charging back towards that Nash buoy, almost on a downwind run. Actually, I think that second stretch, the far eastern end, is even better direction for the downwind bumps. As we see on the far end of the course right now, it's Fiona and Olivia. For those watching on the live stream, we're just going to disappear behind the trees, so we'll keep the camera trained on that far buoy. But right now, it's Fiona Wylde out front. Olivia Piana is in second. Yuka Sato out of Japan is in third. Angie Jackson still holding down fourth, but if she looks over her shoulder, she'll see Shea Fowdy and Seychelles right behind her, and they haven't taken their hot lap yet, which means Angie's got a lot of work to do, because as soon as they do take a hot lap, they're going to gain about 100 meters on her. But for now, Fiona just milking these bumps. Olivia, though, doing really well. Olivia is keeping Fiona within her sights on this back downwind straight, which we'll try and get you some images of in a moment. But for now, we're still looking up on the live stream as the mid-packs go towards that top buoy. Some virtual standings for you, AV. Let's just try and run through the top 10. You might have to help me out here, mate. It's Fiona Wylde in first, Olivia Piana second, Yuka Sato third, Angie Jackson barely in fourth, although she's taken her hot lap already. Shea Fowdy without the hot lap on her tail. Seychelles getting dropped a little bit now. And we see Tareen Black going up to the buoy with April Zilg on her tail, just about rounding out the top 10.
Yes, and you hit it right on the head. Just a reminder for all the men, if you've already finished racing, whether you're in the final or not in the final, if you can move your boards, we're going to need that area clear so that the board caddies can get the women's board. So the area right by the announcers. And just looking at Fiona's pace right now, if you think maybe she's slowed down and she was tiring out, perhaps that was just a ploy. It's the old rope-a-dope technique used in boxing, and Fiona Wylde maybe lulling the girls to sleep and then attacking on that lap. If, in fact, that was her strategy, it is going to be the most brilliant strategy ever. We saw Leif in that open race, very technical paddling with his race strategy. I know Steve Gates goes through it a lot. So here it's Fiona Wylde virtually in first place. Actually in first place, we're not sure yet. We're going to wait to see what Shea does when she takes her hot lap, because she must do it this lap.
Yeah, absolutely. This will be the end of the third lap, the penultimate lap. So if you don't take your hot lap on this lap, you're not going to take it. Only one paddler in history has forgotten to take the hot lap and still made it through to the final. Stevie T. Shotata from Tahiti. God bless him. He scraped through to the final even though he forgot to take his hot lap. But you don't want to do that in the final, because you give the other ladies about a 100-meter head start as Fiona just grinds into this headwind now. So Fiona Wylde out in front. Olivia Piana, though, she's closing her down in this headwind section. You can see that Fiona just doesn't have the same raw power as Olivia, so she's going to have to try and hang on in this stretch.
Yeah, and just trying to visually count the distance or look at the distance between Fiona and Shea. If Shea were to take the hot lap, would that even out, or does Fiona have a little bit of a lead? I'm going to say it's virtually even. It's going to be super close and an exciting race for our last and final lap. But Fiona Wylde out in front, Olivia Piana right there, Yuka Sato working hard, Shea Fowdy with a little bit of spring in her step right now, going past Angie Jackson and Shea Fowdy. Wow, what an amazing lap right there for Shea Fowdy. Not to be counted out is Olivia Piana, Yuka Sato, Tareen Black out there. Seychelles is having an amazing race as well. So one more lap. We're going to see what happens. But cheer on your own Fiona Wylde. Picking Shea.
Alrighty, so Fiona Wylde charging in as she zips around this W course. One last time. This will be the end of her third lap. Then she's got one full loop around the course before she can finish. Olivia Piana, though, almost closed her down on that headwind leg. AV Fiona's just going to carefully go around the bottom of the W here. She'll zip up to the middle, but Fiona just 3 board lengths behind right now, and we can see she's got that lovely turnstile. We don't want to jinx her, but textbook around the Nash buoy there.
And you saw Fiona Wylde have a look at Olivia, but then she also had a second look at the pack. And she was doing the math in her head, trying to see where Shea was. And now she knows it's her time to attack. Fiona needs to get to that westernmost buoy first and make advantage of those downwind runs like we've been talking about. Really quick, one announcement for all of the boards that are near the timing tent. Please remove your boards by the timing tent. Even if you're in the final, we need that area clear for our board caddies. Men, move your boards, please.
Yeah, come on, fellas. Jeez. So, all right, this is where it's going to get exciting, AV, because Shay Foudy has to take her hot lap right now. If you're watching online, you can see Shay Foudy on the center of screen. She's got to go right now, and it's going to be, so tight. Shay Foudy goes around the bottom of the W. Is she going to cut Fiona off? I think she is, AV. She's going to be there for about 5 meters. So Shay goes around the bottom of the course. Angie has to go back up to the W. Shay rounds in first now.
Shay Foudy out in first place right now. Fiona Wylde just 2 board lengths behind. This is where the hometown crowd can help spawn Fiona on. You guys need to really get behind your local girl, Seychelles. Olivia coming in for third, and Shay Foudy with about 5 board lengths lead. The youngster from Dana Point, she's in school. She's got a full-time job, and she's out here mixing it up with the top girls in the world. Shay Foudy, 4th place last year, looking for first place this year. Can she do it?
Wow, what a move by Shay Foudy. She just held on for the first 3 laps, didn't let it phase her when the other women took the hot lap. And now it's paid off for her, because even though she's got a brutal 200-meter headwind grind to hang on to, she's got about 10, 15 meters, 40, 50 feet over Fiona Wylde. This is where it's going to get interesting. And you know who's not out of it right now? Seychelles. She loves to grind in this headwind stuff. She could actually make up a bit of ground on Shay right now.
You know, I was just thinking that with both Olivia and Seychelles, because they're grinders upwind. So if they can make a move on the downwind, and if they can get to that easternmost turning buoy close to the bridge, they're going to have a little bit more strength. You can see right now they're pulling right up next to Fiona. So Shay Foudy out in front, and the trio is battling for second place right now. But Shay can feel the lead, and she has increased her stroke rate. She's been working so hard. And if you remember a few years back, one of Shay's first times here, she actually pulled out of this race. She fell a couple times. She was in tears. And to watch her grow over the years and become the strong athlete that she is now, that's the beauty of sport and this event. Shay Foudy out in first place.
Yeah, an epic performance so far from Shay Foudy, but if she looks over her shoulder, she'll see 4 of the strongest women in the sport trying to charge her down. If you're watching the live stream on the Paddle League Facebook page, thanks for tuning in around the world. Leave your predictions who's going to win this final lap. But you're watching on the screen Shay Foudy approaching that far Nash buoy. She's got on the left, just behind her, Olivia Piana. That duo to the right, that's Seychelles and Fiona Wylde. Then we've got Yuka Sato, and then just at the bottom of the screen, if you're watching online, you can now see, it looks like April Zilg, Angie Jackson, Candace Appleby. So, there's some very big names already outside the top 5, which shows you just how stacked the women's racing is these days. Again, virtually all the top women in the world here in Hood River. This traditionally has actually been the most competitive women's race of the year. Often the BOP weekend, the PBG's weekend, was a little more competitive in the men's, but this has actually always been the premier women's race. So you're watching as good as it gets here in the women's racing, AV.
And one thing about Steve Gates and the committee here at the Nash Columbia Gorge Paddle Challenge, there was a few years back when they were only going to pay the women through the top 5 places. So many women showed up. He's like, hey, we're paying all the way through 8th. And so doing things like that to really highlight the women's side of the sport. The prize money has been equal for the entire time this event has been in existence. Little things like giving the open women their own heat, their own start, giving the open women their own start in the downwind race. Abby Baker going down, and right now we have Fiona Wylde trying to hold on to second place, and Yuka Sato goes down. Seychelles has moved into second place. Shay Foudy right now is just absolutely blistering the field. I'm going to say she's going to hold on and take her second victory in a row in international competition. She won in London. She's here in Oregon, and she might win for the first time. She's gliding. Look at her board, just surfing down up the river. Shay Foudy in first place. Seychelles and Olivia Piana are going to be battling for second and third respectively, and it looks like Olivia Piana gets caught up in the buoy, and her board got wrapped around the buoy. And here's the thing for the overall. Fiona has about 3.5 minutes on the rest of the field for the overall. So although she may not win this race, she might have enough distance from the 2 downwinders yesterday to retain for the 3rd time in a row her overall championship.
I think Fiona could do an extra lap and still retain that after yesterday. She was so far ahead, but no. Shade's putting on an absolute elite course racing masterclass here. This hot lap super showdown final. She's actually pulled away from Fiona and the other women in the downwind bumps, which just highlights how good she's paddling right now. She's actually almost going to lap one of the other women on the field. So she's taking a sharper turn on this final lap back to the very first golden buoy. Then she'll charge into the beach. But, I mean, Seychelles the only one within shouting distance AV. She's going to have to pull a rabbit out of the hat to make up this distance.
Yeah, and I think all the rabbits are asleep. There's no hats around. Seychelles actually had a really good crossbow turn right there, but Shea Foudy is just in a groove. And you got to think about her race strategy and being so strong. When Fiona went, she didn't go. She was confident in her paddling and her training and her strategy. Her form looks perfect right now, and I know her teammate, training partner Candace, is going to be stoked. Dave Bainey's down there. He's got his camera out. It's going to be the first time Shay's taken a victory here in Hood River, Oregon, and she's going to be absolutely stoked. Coming off a year of injury, Shea Foudy's coming back strong, and the battle is going to be for second.
So Seychelles really digging deep to try and make up the ground, maybe close it by a couple of board lengths. Olivia Piana as well. Fiona Wylde hasn't given up. Fiona clearly spent a lot of energy yesterday. I actually chatted with her family. Her blood sugar ratings were going off the charts yesterday between the runs. She suffers from diabetes. So just the fact that she's out here competing at this elite level is quite extraordinary. But the weekend's taking its toll on Fiona as Shea powers ahead towards this last buoy turn AV. I don't think Seychelles or Olivia are going to be able to catch her from here.
Yeah, they're not going to get her. And remember last year in this race, that's when Fiona Wylde, her blood sugar was really low, and she, virtually passed out after the race because she literally gives everything that she has this whole week and for this whole event. That's why she's a 3-time, possibly the 4th time overall champion. So Shea Foudy is on her way to a $1,500 check. Second place, $800. Third place, $600. So just pretty good payday here. Shea Foudy, 19 years old, $1,500 richer, barring any shark attacks.
Alrighty, Shea Foudy now charging back towards the beach. Everybody watching here at the waterfront, give her a huge cheer. If you're watching online on the Paddle League Facebook live stream, leave your comments for this amazing young woman, Shea Foudy, charging back towards the beach as we see her on the live stream through the trees here that strategically block our view. But Shea's about to appear on the other side. She's got 100 meters, 300 feet to the finish. Start giving her a big cheer, everybody on the beach.
She was 4th place last year. She's going to be 1st place this year. You're not going to find a happier person on the beach. Shea Foudy coming in strong in these final strokes for the young girl from Dana Point, California, juggling school, juggling work, and juggling her training, and she's juggled her way into 1st place in the 8th annual Nash Columbia Gorge Paddle Champion. Your 1st place winner, Shea Flash Foudy.
Well done, Shea Foudy. Team Infinity, Team Quickblade get a victory here on day 2 in the Gorge. A massive result from Shea. A really smart race, AV. She waited till the final moment to take her hot lap, and it paid off. Another one who waited till the 3rd lap to take her hot lap was Seychelles. Paid off for her as well. So maybe the men have been watching this AV, getting a little bit strategic themselves. So cheer her on. Here comes Seychelles from Team SIC, your runner-up of the hot lap here at the Nash Columbia Gorge Paddle Challenge. Fantastic result from Seychelles, one of the strongest women on the water. And there's a great battle here. Fiona Wylde, Yuka Sato, Olivia Piana. Can Olivia hang on? Fiona's found her 2nd win, AV. She's charging towards the beach.
Yeah, Olivia Piana holding on to 3rd place. Fiona Wylde is going to be right behind her, and Yuka Sato is going to round out the top 5. But the story is Shea Foudy. Her 91 V-Drive quick blade just put through the test and absolutely passed the test. Congratulations, Yuka Sato, 5th place, your first ever Nash Columbia Gorge Paddle Challenge.
Yeah, great job from Yuka. We call her the smiling assassin, AV, because she's the happiest paddler you'll ever meet, but you don't want to race against her because she's bloody strong. As Angie Jackson cruises in on her 1 board, dodges the Nash buoy. She rolled the dice early, AV, on that 1st lap. Angie took the hot lap early, but she's going to come through a very solid result. 6th place, I believe, from memory. And another one board behind her in the form of April Zilg, who won up there in Vancouver Sup Challenge last week. But Angie jumps off, runs up the beach. Congratulations, Angie Jackson, all the way from Australia. Give her a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. These women have worked very hard this weekend. Don't forget they paddled for 2.5 hours yesterday, AV. I'd be still asleep if I did that race. They've backed it up with the course race today as April Zilg jumps off. She'll cross the line for 7th. And here comes Candice Appleby. Again, from memory, she's going to cross in 8th. The same combo as the winner, Shay Fowdy, the infinity board. Quick blade paddle in hand. So another top 10 result from Candice. As we see a bit of a gap back to the rest of the field. AV, that headwind really broke up the field. These course races and the flat water races, usually you see draft trains all over the place. It's kind of brutal out there with this headwind.
It's so brutal out there with the headwind, and huge props to Candice, nursing a broken foot. Maybe could have taken this event off, but this is one of those events that no matter if you're hurt or injured or sick or haven't trained, you're going to the Gorge Paddle Challenge. If you're anywhere else on this weekend, you're blowing it. You need to be here the 3rd weekend of August every year. Put it in your calendar for next year, the year after that. Find the spot you like to stay, and this has to be a staple on anywhere that you're going for a race because it's the greatest event in Hood River.
Oh, the amazing thing about this event, AV, is all the people that are here. It's like a reunion for the paddling community. We see people we haven't seen for 6 or 12 months. Such a good vibe here at the beach, up at Viento, in all the team houses, at Whiskey Tango tonight, no doubt. Oh, yeah. But as we see Tareen Black, ladies and gentlemen, give this lady a big cheer. She won the Molokai to Oahu Epic just a few weeks ago. Tareen Black, one of the greatest athletes in the sport this year. So Tareen from Team ECS out of Australia. I sound like a broken record, but she also has quick blade paddle in hand. As she hits the beach, Tareen will run up for a top 10 finish. As it looks like Jen Lee might be sneaking in just behind her. Another Molokai finisher this year. Jen Lee from Team NSP.
Sit down for a sec.
You might be doing another lap.
Yeah, switch between, yeah. That looks sick. Does it look good? Yeah. Just do a little pan as the last one. Is that Shannon Bell?
Yeah.
Here comes Shannon Bell out of Canada, I believe, on the starboard. Give her a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Helps put together the Vancouver Sup Challenge, a great regional event last weekend. So Shannon, one of the seasoned veterans, solid result out there in these tough conditions. And give a huge cheer for this young lady coming through now, the birthday girl. Go wish her all a happy birthday, 16 years of age today, from Team SIC, Jade Housen.
Okay, Mo, you gotta go cheer Jade on.
Thanks for coming out.
So Jade Housen making me and AV feel really old up here in the booth. Only 16 and competing with the world's best. As Kimberly Barnes jumps off that flying fish design, runs up the chute. I'm counting down to about 12th, 13th. Looks like Stephanie Scheidler out of New York is going to run off the Infinity. Great job, Stephanie. She had a fantastic double downwinder yesterday as well. Stephanie, one of the dark horses in the sport. We're over there on the Euro Tour with her this summer. So a few more women battling around the course. AV, this headwind. I'm kind of glad I'm up here in the booth with you, mate, because that looks tough.
Yeah, it's super tough, and speak for yourself. She doesn't make me feel old. Jade Housen just makes us feel younger. That's what this sport actually does to everyone. It just makes you feel younger, and you see some of the older crew and what they're able to do out here. We saw Kristen Thomas battling in that open race, and McCrae Wylde, and just, you know, the ocean, the river, and being on the water, I think really helps keep you young. But yeah, you're right. It kind of does. Wait, 16th birthday? Can you remember that?
I definitely wasn't paddling an international race when I was 16. But great job, Jade Housen. Great job, all the women on the water today. It's been an entertaining show, and you're right, some fantastic results from the Super Groms this morning. I think that was my favorite race of the day. Mary Kissinger took that out. And the open race, a great battle there. Kristen Thomas just winding back the clock. Vintage performance from KT. Now into the Elite's hot lap finale. And if you're just tuning in on the Paddle League live stream, a quick recap of the results. Help me out here, AV, but it was Shay Fowdy taking out the win. Runner-up, Seychelles. Third place was Olivia Piana. Then Fiona Wylde, followed closely by her starboard teammate, Yuka Sato, Angie Jackson, April Zilg, and
Candace Appleby right after there. And we also saw Adele Umanova from Czech Republic going out for her last lap. The three-time Mexican national champion, longtime Columbia Gorge Paddle Challenge competitor, Erica Benitez finishing up her campaign. Round of applause for Erica. Right behind her training partner. Yeah, Erica's stoked. Getting high fives from some of the parents. I see that's Abby Baker right there. Training partners with Erica Benitez, the youngest competitor in this elite final, competing elite for the first time ever. The young 14-year-old Abby Baker.
Yeah, Abby Baker, I believe, out of the Paddle Academy crew. So many great junior squads. The JET program up here in Hood River has produced so many champions. The Paddle Academy, you got your own group, Anthony Valor, Performance Paddling, doing a great job for the sport. That's what we need to see around the world. I think it's been really interesting to see the sport evolve and the future, for sure, of the juniors. So it's so good to see the young women already 14 years of age and they're competing on the top level. And another one of the juniors to watch coming through now, about to hit the beach, young Lara Clayton on that Rogue board. A new signing for Team Rogue, I believe, this week. So congratulations to Lara and Team Rogue. Lara used to the downwind bumps of Maui, but solid result from Lara, well done. 18 years of age, I believe.
Yeah, and just to add on to what you're talking about, the youth teams, really great to see what Steve Gates has created, being the first youth paddling team. Mike Eisert has developed the Paddle Academy in Dana Point. We work with the adults with performance paddling. McCandis and I did the Sup Fiesta for several years, bringing the top kids from all around the world together. In North Carolina, they have the Carolina Junior Watermans. Jay Wylde in Tahoe has his junior program. In Florida, they've had a program. I know Laura Cutglass has developed the program in Spain. Also, we've got Bicho Jimenez and his wife, blanking on her name, but they have the youth team down in Sayulita, Shelby, with their newborn. They've got the junior team in Sayulita, Mexico. So that's the key. You've got to properly train the new up-and-comers and share the stoke and all the things that you've learned as an adult. That's how we help keep the sport growing. So wherever you live, start a youth program.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for giving the crew in Spain a shout out, AV, because those crew do an absolutely phenomenal job. I know all the training squads in America are amazing, but I'd almost say the Spanish crew on the island of Mallorca, it's world class. And we did the Euro Tour this summer. Almost every week, they would fly somewhere with 24 kids. All the parents fundraised on the island and got these plane tickets for the kids to go and compete 3 or 4 weekends straight on the Euro Tour. It was so cool to see. They're always so stoked to be out there. And it's the future. And as my fellow PPG's co-commentator, Dave Kalama, would say, the future is now, AV, and you're seeing it here this weekend in the Gorge.
And it takes a lot of time to organize all that. Someone's got to make the reservation. Someone's got to put all the information together. And it takes, athletes to give back like many people do. Fiona Wylde, who's come through the JET team now, helps coach. And Laura Cutglass and the crew over there in Spain really working hard to bring that sort of AYSO soccer mentality or, rugby, football in Australia, and you've got to have that team camaraderie. Mike Eisert does that. He's taking his team. They're doing the Maui to Molokai, the Olukai races, and that's how you meet friends from around the world. Then your traveling becomes cheaper because you have friends that you can stay with. Those relationships develop so that you can go do the Molokai to Oahu together as a team. And then, of course, you meet all your friends every year in Hood River for this race. So it's just incredible the amount of time that athletes give back, and that's what helps perpetuate the stoke of the sport. So please, everyone, give back to the sport that has given you so much pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well said, AV. And if you're watching on the live stream, a nice booth cam view. My legendary co-commentator up here, AV. I remember actually when I got into the sport about 6 or 7 years ago, this guy was the man to beat. Back in the don't be humble. Back in the good old days of the Southern California Racing Series, AV was a legend and still doing so much for the sport. So thanks for joining us up here and calling the action all weekend here in Hood River. So there's a couple more women battling around this course. AV, I see the elite men starting to warm up. They'll be starting in about 10 minutes time if you're watching on the live stream. But is this wind getting even stronger?
The wind's getting stronger. The beer's getting colder. The races are ending, so you have no excuse. There's no more races to wait for. There's all you need to do is pack up your gear, pick up some trash, get a beer in the beer garden, and line up to watch this incredible men's final. We've ran through heats. The top 10 from each heat advanced to a final of 20 competitors from all over the world. And we're going to see who's going to be crowned the 2018 champion of the course race and is going to go home $1,500 US richer.
They might not go home $1,500 richer because I think that's all going on the bar at Whiskey Tango tonight. I'm calling it now. Shay. Actually, she might not even be old enough to get in. But
But give us your check anyway, Shay. We get some sort of finder's fee. And I was talking to Noik, asking him, how are you going to spend your money? You know, thinking it's going to be a kid answer. After he kind of laughed, he thought about it. He's like, well, I guess just to get to the next event. Because, you know, it takes a lot of money. And that's the thing where events that are giving the equal prize money, which really should be every event, but the women pay the same for airline tickets. It costs the same amount of money for hotels, for the boards to go on the planes, or however you're going to get them there. It's not like you get a discount or anything. So huge props to Steve and huge props to all the athletes making the commitment and their parents supporting them or their loved ones supporting their passion. I know Travis Grant had his whole family out here and, you know, choosing to take the day off today so that they can go and play and visit and experience Hood River. And he is just an incredible ambassador for the sport of how to have a job, have a family, and do it all well.
yeah, absolutely. For those that don't follow the sport too closely, you might think that all these athletes are just superstars that fly around on private jets and stay in 6-star hotels. Believe me, I travel the whole year with these men and women. I can tell you that's not the case. There's a lot of couches involved. There's a lot of creative travel solutions involved. A lot of them do work 9-to-5 jobs, including, like you just mentioned, Travis Grant, who won Molokai for the 4th time a few weeks ago and then went back to work the next day.
Yeah. Hey, Shay Foudy, you just won the course race at the Gorge Paddle Challenge, the Nash Columbia Gorge Paddle Challenge. This is not a dream. This is real. Congratulations, Shay.
Okay, Shay Foudy, your media obligations. Run up to the booth. You got an interview with AV. So I think we've probably got about 5 more minutes before the start of the men's race. So Shay Foudy, get up here to the booth. And we want to hear about your very strategic race there.
Yeah, and Shay, because of this win, it's going to be time to release the video of the beach start. You know the one beach start. Yep, we're releasing that video.
Alrighty, so.
And here's Karen Kennedy from Florida, KK, making her way in. First-time competitor in the Nash Columbia Gorge Paddle Challenge. Nice job out there, KK. She's like, wait, how do you know my nickname, KK? Everybody knows.
So Karen Kennedy coming in, jumping off the JP board there.
And just a reminder to all the guys, we're going to do the intros like we did for the ladies. So all of the guys, they're probably in their hotels in the shade while the ladies are doing it. But you can beach your boards. We're going to do the introductions. This is one thing that Al Patterson really enjoyed doing. And huge shout out to Al Patterson, announcer for 6 years for this event. He's now moved on to saving rhinos in Africa and doing all sorts of wonderful work like that. So Al Patterson, you are loved here in Hood River and we miss you. So all the guys, you're going to need to leave your boards. Come on over. Yeah, 1 second.
Yeah, no, a big shout out to Al Patterson. I'm sure he's watching the live stream. We miss you here in Hood River, Al. But the legacy lives on with these great introductions. Feels like we're at the NBA, AV. I love it.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure doing the introductions, and you know, it's a lot of research that goes into it as well. You can't just, you know, say the name and whatever. It helps to have some stats to back them up. I had Amy Kitt helping out last night, looking up some stats, some of the athletes that we don't know where they're from. But I think that's one of the important things, is to highlight all of these athletes that have made commitments and sacrifices to be here, and maybe they're not going to be in the front of the pack, so they don't get featured while we're announcing the race or in the webcast or the Facebook Live, but they can all be introduced and treated to the applause that they deserve from the local fans here.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going through the start list yesterday. I believe there's 21 different countries represented here this weekend. And I think at least half of them seem to speak French based on yesterday's results. It was actually quite extraordinary. I believe 10 of the top 20 in the men's elite double downwinder were French speakers from either New Caledonia, Tahiti, or France itself. So the French crew rolls deep on the international racing scene. And of course we saw a few of the women as well, Amandine Chazot, Olivia Piana. So the Frenchies, they know what they're doing. And there's several of them in this elite men's hot lap finale. As we get ready, just a few minutes away, we're going to do some introductions. So if you're down here on the beach, fellas, make your way up towards the tower, the commentary tower. We're going to do some introductions for you. So fellas, head up. We're going to do your intros. Stop talking tactics down there. Playing mind games about which hot lap you're going to take. But guys, make your way up to the commentary tower for some introductions. So give this woman a huge round of applause all the way from Europe. Adele Umanova hasn't given up the whole way. She's going to charge all the way to the beach. Give her a big round of applause. Give her a high five, fellas, as she runs up the chute. That was tough racing out there. Well done, Adele Umanova. Fantastic performance. Great job. And that will just about round out the hot lap for the elite women, the grand finale, which means there's just one more race this weekend here in Hood River. So if you're there in the beer garden, wherever you are on the beach, turn your attention towards the commentary tower, because in a minute or two, we're going to do the famous introductions of the men in this elite hot lap finale. Fernando Stalla, please make your way to the commentary tower. I see you, buddy. Interesting to see how the guys line their boards up on the beach. There's always someone that wants to put their board down either first or last and get the money spot in the all-important race out to the Golden Buoy. So some very strategic positions. Do you want to get in the middle and have the shortest run? Do you want to be on either end and get some clean water? All right, fellas, so just make your way over to the commentary booth. So if you're just walking through the waterfront park, come over to the tower. You're going to get a close-up look at 20 of the finest athletes in the sport of stand-up paddleboarding. We'll just wait a minute for the final stragglers to make their way over. Slater Trout. Fernando Stalla. Get over here, buddy.
Okay, we're on. It's game on. If you're not over here, you're missing out. Because we are starting the introductions. If you're standing around, you're going to want to make your way over to where all the good-looking guys are standing. And you're going to get a close-up. First up, from the island of Maui, former winner of the downwind race, 4th place this year, Molokai to Oahu, Cody Kerbox. Introducing from Sayulita, Mexico, Rogue Team Rider, Fernando Stalla. And out of the island of Oahu, he was third place in this race 2 years ago. Current ISA world champion, third place this year in the Carolina Cup, Mo Freitas. And introducing all the way from Peru, 22nd at the Carolina Cup. He was 34th yesterday. He's in the top 20 already today. Itzel Delgado. And from Italy, 30th place yesterday, 14th at the ISA course race, Leonard Nika. And he's originally from Florida, now living in Redondo Beach, California. He's the original man-child. 11th place in this event last year. Former podium winner Slater Trout. And introducing from the island of Maui via Florida, winner once again of the Molokai to Oahu race. He was 6th in this event last year, Josh Riccio. And out of Australia, he was 13th yesterday, 13th in this event last year, 6th place in the course race at PPG last year, Tom Aubert. From France, 19th yesterday, 9th place last year in the Pacific Paddle Games. From France, Martin Vitry. And in his first time here, 17th place yesterday, he was 13th in the Carolina Cup. From Australia, Ty Judson. And Fanatic Team Rider from France, 10th place yesterday. 3rd in this event last year, Arthur Arutkin. Out of the island of Tahiti, he was the first Tahitian to start competing on the world stage. He was 14th yesterday, 5th place in the Carolina Cup this year, won this event back in 2013, George Kronstadt. And introducing also out of Tahiti, 15th place yesterday, 14th in the Carolina Cup, Enzo Bennett. And from the island of New Zealand, having a very consistent season, one of the most underrated paddlers out there, 9th place yesterday, 6th at the Carolina Cup this year, Marcus Hansen. Coming from Australia, finishing 8th place yesterday. He was 15th last year in this event, 4th in the course race at the Pacific Paddle Games, Matty Nottage. Always on the podium, 5th place finish yesterday. He was 2nd here last year, 2nd at PPG last year, 5th place ISA course race, Lincoln Dews. And one of our young up-and-comers who is already here. He's not up-and-coming anymore. 2nd place yesterday. 8th place in this course race last year from New Caledonia, Clement Comas. Three-time winner of this event, 4-time winner of the Downwinder, Molokai to Oahu multiple champion, winner of the Pacific Paddle Games course race last year, the one and only Connor Baxter. And introducing from France, from the island of New Caledonia, last year's champion. He was 4th yesterday, 3rd place in the Pacific Paddle Games course race, Tituan Puyo. And our winner yesterday, the overall champion from the double downwind. He was second in the Junior Pro last year at the Pacific Paddle Games. He wants to put his stamp on the course race now from New Caledonia, Noik Jarou. And ladies and gentlemen, those are your top 20 men for this 2018 course race at the Nash Columbia Gorge Paddle Challenge. Gentlemen, start your engines. Is that even a thing? I said it again.
I like it, AV.
We're running with it.
Alrighty, so 20 of the finest athletes on the water getting ready for a pretty damn big showdown. The Nash Columbia Gorge Paddle Challenge Hot Lap Grand Finale just a few minutes away. The fellas are making their way back towards the boards. We'll see how they've strategically lined them up on the beach. Who's going to have the whole shot out to that first golden buoy? We're going to try and bring you some live drone footage if you're watching online on the Paddle League Facebook page. If you tuned in yesterday, we had a fun day out there on the water. Slightly more stable internet down here at the finish line than in some of the far reaches of the gorge. So thanks for your patience yesterday when we dropped out a couple of times. It's always an interesting challenge putting these live streams together, but it's a pleasure to try and bring you a front row seat. We always make the non-ESPN disclaimer, but hopefully it gives you a window into this fantastic event. And if you haven't been here, add the Nash Columbia Gorge Paddle Challenge to your bucket list if you're watching from around the world online. And if you're here in Hood River, well, lucky you, because where else would you rather be? So we're probably just a few minutes away, 2 or 3 minutes away.
And just an announcement to all the groms and everyone, we've got final word about the relay. We were going to bring back the Big Winds relay. Due to the wind, the relay is officially canceled, so there will be no relay on the water. The relay will be in the beer garden. Kids are not allowed, and it is going to be a showdown. Remember the relays in Denmark?
Yeah, there was some famous relays in Denmark, AV.
Okay, so again, we've got strategy happening right now.
Wow.
So closest to us, we've got T2. Maddie Nottage also choosing to have a clean line, as well as Artur Rutkin. And it looks like Noik's going to change his line and come over to the other side. You've got another change. George Kronstadt's changing. Lincoln Dews is on the western end holding his ground, as is Martin Vitry, Fernando Stalla, and the Virus. Connor Baxter in there as well. Next to Clement Coleman, Slater Trout. He knows where to start. And you see Enzo Bennett right there on the SIC. Ty Judson, Marcus Hansen, Mo Freitas.
Yeah, some very interesting strategy. You're right, AV. The two New Caledonians, or two of the three, have lined up closest to us. If you're watching online, they're on the bottom of the screen. A great drone shot there. But if you're at the park, you can see them on the far right on that blue and green NSP and the balsa green Sonova design. That's Tituan and yesterday's grand champion, Noik Garriou, just 16 years of age. So we're not too far away. The flags aren't up yet, so we're a couple of minutes away from the start.
Fiona, this is perfect timing because I was going to take my picture, but now can you be in this picture of me that I was just going to take of myself? Thank you. Are you going to hang out with us up here?
So if you're watching online on the Paddle League live stream, you can see a great drone shot of the 20 men lining up to start. They're going to charge out to the Golden Buoy. If you're down here at the waterfront, get down to the beach because the men's elite hot lap is about to begin. And it's going to be hot. It's going to be fast. It's going to be a grind around those headwind stretches. It's going to be a glide down the back straight on the downwind bumps. And we've all got a front row seat.
It is a great time to be a fan of the sport right now. Watching the exciting action from the women's heat. We stole Fiona Wylde, and she's going to hang out up here with us. She's going to call some of the action, tell us about the women's race and about the course. Red flag is up.
Oh, wow. What if it dropped it on us?
What if they put it down here?
And the red flag is down. They can start at any time. And they're off. That's the official start of the men's course race Nash Columbia Gorge Paddle Challenge presented by Fanatic. You've got Tituan Puyo on the far right side, Noik Giroux on the far right side as well. And on the left side, you've got Martin Vitry. Slater Trout is in there as well. And it's going to be a cracker to the first buoy.
Oh, yeah, what a flying start from T2 on the far right there. He picked a really clean spot to head out, and he's got his own water, so he's going to be able to make his way to that first buoy. Probably got a few extra meters to paddle, but he's just got so much room that he's looking good to get the whole shot. But a few of the boys in the center are going to try and cut him off. We'll see if any of them can actually do that. If you're watching on the live stream, a great drone shot as the boys charge out towards that golden buoy. That's T2. For those watching online, on the left of your screen, all by himself.
T2 up from the bottom.
T2's going to get a little bit cut off at the buoy, though. The boys in the center were absolutely charging around, and it looks like it could be from here. Was that Man Vitry from France getting the whole shot around there? Looks like Mo Freitas got a really good start. He was second around the buoy.
Connor Baxter right there as well as Noik. Connor Baxter won 2 years ago, 2 years before that, and then back in 2011. So Connor Baxter trying to regain his title. Cody Kerbach's in there as well.
So a fantastic start from young Martin Vitry, the flying Frenchman. We mentioned earlier, AV, 10 of the top 20 men's finishes yesterday are French speakers.
Yeah, I want to learn how to speak French just to talk to those guys. And, like, you know, they're all really funny, but, you know, sometimes they understand you, they don't, or they pretend that they don't. But, you know, they really all have their, different distinct personalities. And literally, I want to learn French just to have a conversation with these guys and also with, I'm blanking on his name, the surfer. Why am I blanking on the one surfer that? Poi Nike. I want to have a conversation with Poi Nike Rioja, and that's why I want to learn French.
I want to learn French just so we can go and live in Tahiti, AV. But as the men charge towards that top buoy, it's the West End Nash buoy. It's such a tight pack. There's about 10 meters between first and 20th. Can we see who's going to go around in first there on the far buoy? Looks like Mo Freitas has got his nose around in front.
And Mo Freitas coming off of a less than stellar performance with a 32nd yesterday, so he's vying for a win right now. And we are going to pass it over to Fiona Wylde. I'm going to let her call some of the action. Fiona, here's the mic. You're on.
Thanks, guys. It is really windy out there, and I know it feels super windy here, but it actually is way windier out there. These guys are doing an amazing job right now, flying downwind. The bumps are super fun. Looks like Moa's out in first. T2's in second. Noik just went from fourth to third, and Martin is going to try and sneak up on the inside, catch back up to him. Lincoln is in fifth. Marcus Hansen, sixth. Cody in seventh. Ty in eighth. Arthur in ninth. Somebody just went swimming, and it kind of looks like it could be Connor.
Oh, it was Connor.
Oh.
No.
No way. Connor just went down and they said, is he all right? Hopefully he's all right.
Oh my goodness.
All right.
Come up, you're VIP.
What a crazy race is going on right now. Mo, that came around in first, had a bit of a lead and now is pulling everybody back together. It's super tight out there. Even though the bumps are really good, if you're a little bit farther back in the pack, it's actually quite difficult to catch them. So the guys that are out in front really have the advantage right now because they can get some clean water and try and pull ahead a little bit and create a bit of separation. But the first five are really close. Mo is about half a board lead ahead of T2. Noik just holding on right behind. T2 just got a bump and is pulling ahead of Mo right now.
Fiona, stop putting me out of a job with that expert commentary. You're doing too good. Well called. T2 got a great bump and pulled right up alongside Mo Freitas. They went side by side around that buoy. Mo had the inside turn though, forced T2 wide. So it's Mo Freitas. Noit Gariou sneaks up the inside. T2 on the outside. Lincoln Jew's up there in the mix. Martin Vitry still hanging on. Marcus Hansen's made a bit of a move. Cody Kerberg's looking good. Coming around now, Arthur Rukin, Ty Judson, followed by, looks like Josh Riccio, Clement Colmas. This is a tight pack.
Yeah, even though T2 went a little bit wide on that last one, he might have a little bit of a better angle coming into this W here. He's kind of battling as a one-man show against a draft train of about, well, pretty much everybody.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how they do this little zip, zip, zip around the W course here at the Gorge. And actually, strategically, at the back there, Fernando Stala and Connor Baxter, who fell off, they've got so much ground to make up. But the beauty of their hot lap is they maybe can take it now on their first lap, jump back onto the front of the train, and use that to their advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. They may be able to. It all depends how much they know they can push later on in the race. But it might not be a bad idea because this draft train is really close together. And if they can kind of like, you can actually draft on the side of a train as well. You don't have to be nose to tail behind each board. So maybe they could use that as an advantage. And it looks like one of our 425 riders is trying to do that right now.
Dan. Expert calling from Fiona Wylde, the grand champion yesterday's double downwind. We're going to move back over to the other side of this tower. Give him a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Cheer him on. That's Mo Freitas, Tituan Pio, Lincoln Jews, Noit Gariou, Martin Vitry, Arthur Arukin, Marcus Hansen. Mo Freitas has got the inside shot. Will anyone take the hot lap, Fiona?
Yep, T2's going for it right now. Cheer him on as he goes through. T2, Lincoln, Noik, Martin, Arthur, Marcus. Anybody else gonna go? Mo, you got a hammer right now.
Wow, the Pied Piper of France. T2 has just drawn the entire field around the hot lap. Boys, you don't have to go with them. You realize that. Almost literally everybody has just taken their hot lap on the first lap except Mo Freitas. That's an absolutely extraordinary sight. We've never seen anything like this in the hot lap. T2 has just drawn literally the whole field minus Mo Freitas. Matt Nottage is the last one. Is he going to go around?
Mo, you're really going to have to sprint now, but we know you can do it because you have that downwind knowledge coming from Hawaii. And he's hammering really hard right now. But if you guys take a look upwind, T2 is absolutely sprinting. It feels windy here, but I can definitely tell you that it is way windier out there. So Mo might actually jump on Connor here and ask for a little bit of a pull back up there. Who knows? We'll see if they'll either be drafting or he's just going to continue to hammer away.
As we see, if you're watching on the Paddle League live stream, a great shot looking up into the headwind. That's T2 way at the top of the field. That must have been an extraordinary head trip for Mo Freitas to turn around that top buoy of the W as he zipped back, and he saw literally the entire field had passed him. He'd gone from first to dead last because of the hot lap, but now he's got that in his back pocket, and if he can get on the tail of Connor Baxter, the #1 seed, and Fernando, and just minimize his workload into the headwind section, this is actually almost perfect for Mo, AV, because he can jump onto Connor Baxter, who's as much of a workhorse as anybody in this sport, and get a little bit of a free ride up and then position himself to take a sneaky hot lap on the second or third loop. But wow, I've never seen anything like that, mate.
Yeah, and you can see Tituan kind of have a look behind and see where he is. So he was really surveying the scene to figure out where everyone else was, and he went right away into a sprint. And I'm going to say that Tituan's going to walk away right now having a sprint towards that first buoy, and now he's in. But Mo's not going to, he's not going to want to stay with that pack of Connor and Fernando. He's got to jump from pack to pack in order to take advantage of that train, so he's not out of it. But Tituan, last year's champion, he's looking to repeat.
Yeah, great shot on the Paddle League live stream here. Just at the bottom of the screen, you're seeing the drone cam. That's T2 chasing the bumps now. The drone can hardly keep up with him. He's going so quick. So T2's broken away by about 10 board lengths. Fiona, have a look at this drone shot.
Wow,
so
T2, gorgeous.
T2's got the lead there.
It's pretty cool when you get to have some epic downwind legs in a course race too. It's a little bit unusual to have course racing in about 20 to 25 knots, but you're in Hood River, and we like the wind here, so it's what you get on race day.
So T2 now, if you're watching online or from the beach, he's hitting that far middle top Nash buoy. As another good drone shot here, you can see T2 lining up the bumps. Fiona, which leg of the back straight, because there's slightly different angles, was better for the bumps, the first or the second that they're now on?
Actually, the best part was coming right into the middle buoy because you could catch a bump into the middle buoy and then angle around it. So you could almost like surf around that buoy, and as you came around, you were able to line up the troughs a bit better heading into the bottom buoy. So even though T2 got a bit of a gap at the beginning, the boys were able to catch up. They're starting to spread out a little bit now, but T2's just flying. He's on a bump now and pulling away again.
So Fiona Wylde, not just an amazing paddle, also an amazing commentator, getting some shout-outs on the live stream comments. Mark Athanasio saying you're doing a fantastic job, Fiona.
Thank you.
When you retire from this sport, which is going to be about 25 years from now, then you can transition into the next part of your career. If you follow the Callie Margetts model, you've still got at least 2 decades left of racing. But T2 rounds the bottom buoy you can see on drone cam, or if you're watching on the beach on that far eastern Nash buoy. T2's still out front. It's NSP 1-2 because Marcus Hansen, Fiona, has moved up into second. So it's T2, Marcus, Arthur next to go around. It's a tight turn between, looks like Ty Judson's moved up into virtual fourth alongside Clement Comas, Noik Gariou, Lincoln Jews, and Martin Vitry still up there in the mix. Get up on the chair, Fiona.
I'm a little bit short, so I need to stand up and see. But yeah, T2 is just maintaining his gap. He's got a board and a half ahead of Marcus. Arthur actually did an amazing job on that outside downwind leg, and he's right on the back of Marcus. But it looks like he's actually going to try up and come next to it. And then you jump back a little bit and you see Clement, who has had an amazing weekend already, but he's pulling that whole next group. Everybody else behind him is kind of just holding there, trying to save some energy in the upwind legs, and I know they're going to try and sprint past him in the downwind. But Clement's pushing hard, and he doesn't want to let anybody else get past him.
So just a quick shout out, if you're watching on the live stream, now's your time to leave some bold predictions as we get to the halfway mark of this race. I want you to tell us where you're watching from and who you think's going to win this men's hot lap race here in the Gorge. I'm going to hand the mic back to AV, because AV, we're getting to the exciting part. It's the second W. They're going to zip, zip, zip around, but only one person on the on the course can actually take it.
Gotta make sure you look.
Yeah, and Marcus Hansen, we talked about it earlier, him being a very underrated paddler. Not the paddlers know who he is, but Marcus Hansen making the transition from sailing. A lot of these athletes are surfers, outrigger canoe paddlers. Marcus Hansen is a sailor, so he knows how to use the wind. And I'll tell you what, we've seen, like in Japan, some of the other races, he's a grinder as well. I thought T2 was going to walk away with it right there, but Marcus Hansen doing a great job of keeping the pack in it, and he's going to have to work to pull him and Arthur up. And the next pack is doing a great job, like Fiona just said. Like Fiona just said, and if this front pack of 3 could stay out in front, there's 2 laps down, 2 to go. We are in the halfway point, and let's see where Mo Freitas is.
Mo's just about to come into the W here. Mo is the only one at this point who has not done the hot lap. We'll have to keep a good eye on him. He's on the rogue board coming in. Matt Nottage is just behind him. He's a little bit far behind T2, but look at Arthur sprinting into the last part of the W here. He just passed Marcus. Give him a cheer as he comes around, trying to close the gap on his fellow Frenchman, T2.
Yeah, Arthur Arutkin from France really putting in a huge effort right there. I think Mo Freitas is a little too far behind. Just looking at the distance he would have to travel when he does his hot lap. He still didn't use it, but when he does, he's still going to be behind. So I'm going to call T2 on out in front. And Arthur has pulled up to T2 with a fantastic effort right there. Like you mentioned, Fiona, Marcus Hansen looking like he's struggling just a bit, not able to hold on to Arthur. And he's going to jump in behind T2 for this upwind leg, and he's going to look to make a move on this next downwind section. Arthur Arukin from France, fanatic rider, the big mover right there.
Yeah, absolutely, and there's a little bit more separation coming in. We have the 3 guys out in front. There's 3 guys next behind him, and the next group has got Clement in 4th, Martin Vitry in 5th, Ty Johnson in 6th, Lincoln Dews in 7th, and Noik, our winner from yesterday, is holding on in 8th, but there's also another pack that's pulling off on the side. As much as everybody is spread out now, it is quite tight racing. We're not done yet. We still have 2 laps to go, and anything can happen when there's bumps and wind like there is today.
Yeah, fantastic calling there, Fiona. As the men, you can see on the live stream looking up. We got a few shout-outs on the live stream. Chris Stephen watching from Florida saying T2 for Team NSP is going to take it. Peru's in the house. Cornwall's in the house. Plenty of shout-outs from Marcus Hansen from New Zealand. Veronica's saying that Mo Freitas getting strategic with a last-minute hot lap is going to be able to take it out. An absolutely fascinating race. If you're down here at the Waterfront Park and you're not familiar with the hot lap concept, the super lap, basically one of these laps you can take a shortcut, which becomes very strategic. On the end of the first lap, Titouan from France was just the Pied Piper. He led everybody around the hot lap except Mo Freitas, who was in the lead at that point and didn't see what was happening. So Mo Freitas, Fiona, he's still got that in his back pocket, and he's only got one more chance to use it, which is at the end of this lap that they've just started. So in about 10 minutes' time, we're going to see exactly where Mo comes out with the rest of the pack.
Yeah, absolutely. It could actually be a really good mental strategy as well, knowing that on your last lap, you're going to have your shortest lap. So you know that you can push a little bit harder and actually be able to save some energy, whereas everybody else still has to go the whole way. But if you guys take a look out there now, we pretty much have separation from the top three. Unless anything drastically happens at the moment, the top three are looking pretty safe with a pretty good gap back to fourth, who is still Clement. We have three up front, a big gap, another three, and then starting to separate a little bit. But T2 once again pulling ahead on the downwind leg.
So Fiona, let's talk about your strategy for your race. You chose to take the hot lap. When and why did you choose to do that?
Honestly, it was kind of a spur-of-the-moment decision. I had a good start, and I started to get a little bit of separation from Shea and Seychelles. So I knew that I needed to just try and make up a little bit of ground, and I wanted to get some clean bumps too, because on the outside there's a big advantage if you're in the front and you can get clean glides. Like if you see right now how Arthur just caught up to T2 and they're passing it back. So I tried to mix it up a little bit, and I was just about maybe half a lap short. But if you guys take a look, let's cheer him on. Arthur Rutkin just came around the bottom buoy in first, pushing T2 back into second. Marcus is still holding on to third. He's going to try and push his way back up to get onto T2's tail. And let's see if he can hold on.
Yeah, Arthur Rutkin was third place here last year. He's looking to better that performance. Arthur and T2 were trading bumps, and you saw Arthur take a little bit of a rest. He was on a nice looking glide. Once he fell off that glide, he worked hard to get into the next one. That was able to push him out in front and gain the inside on T2. Now T2 gets a little bit of a rest. Marcus Hansen is having a struggle trying to stay with these two guys, but now is where Arthur is going to try to put the pedal to the metal. This will be one of his biggest international wins if he were able to take the win over Titouan.
Absolutely. I think just competing out here is amazing, but of course, you know, whoever can go out and survive yesterday and push hard through today as well is a very strong, extremely well-deserving athlete. So Marcus has just a few more board lengths to catch back up to T2. T2's sitting on the back of Arthur. Arthur just has to go through the W and hang on until he can get back up to the upwind part of the course and then sprint downwind. He's just looking for any opportunity to make a little bit of separation, but T2 is not going to let it happen as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, some great insights there, Fiona Wylde. Thank you very much. As we see Arthur Rutkin, if you're watching on live, on the center of screen, he's got his fellow Frenchman right on his tail, Titouan. This is where the race gets really interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Arthur, T2, and now Marcus going around that buoy for Team New Zealand, Team NSP. They've got to do a full V part of the W. They've got to go zip up, whereas Mo Freitas can just go around the bottom part of the W closest to shore and take a huge shortcut. We're going to have to look and see where Mo is, but he's got a lot of ground to make up right now. I can see Mo still about 100 meters away. So I'd say that T2 and Arthur are going to come out of this still in the lead. Mo's still battling in that headwind section. So it looks like T2's roll of the dice, as you see a great shot here. The tight end, that is Martin Vitry, Clement Colmas, and looks like Enzo Bennett, three more French speakers, of course, going around. Now at the bottom of the screen, you can see that's Ty Judson going around. Noit Garyu's going to come onto your screen. He's on that green Sonova board now, just going around that Nash buoy closest to the beach. He's back in about 7th position. But Arthur making a move just above him. Arthur Arukin, you can see a great shot of the W there. Arthur Arukin, that's on the bottom left of your screen if you're watching online. Arthur Arukin goes around. He leads his fellow Frenchman T2 around. Mo Freitas still hasn't come on to see his shortcut, his hot lap. That means it's a 2-horse race now, maybe 2.5 between Arthur Arukin, T2, and in third on his own is Marcus Hansen just bracing around there on the NSP at the bottom left of your screen if you're watching online. But Fiona, here comes Mo.
All right, here comes Mo, and if you're standing on the beach, let's cheer for him. He's going to go for his super lap now. He's coming around. Where is he going to come in?
So Mo Freitas, the only guy that paddled the whole race on his own right now. Where's he going to come in? Just crashes rails with Clement Colmas on the inside, Marvatry on the outside. So Mo Freitas charges through. He's now gone from almost dead last into 4th place. So after that two and a half laps on his own, he's only actually lost 3 positions. So Mo Freitas looking very good, and he's going to try and charge down Marcus Hansen, Fiona.
That is an unbelievable thing that Mo just did, especially mentally. Going from 1st to 20th is not something that's fun in any race, and Mo just hammered the whole time. And he's not stopping yet. He's sitting in 4th. Marcus is a little bit off of the first 2, but if you guys take a look out towards the upwind buoy, T2 is actually pulled ahead again, and now Arthur is sitting on his tail, using a little bit of maybe saving his energy, maybe he's just holding on, but let's see what happens when they round the upwind mark.
Yeah, this is where it gets really strategic. You've basically just got to hang on this upwind stretch and let somebody else try and do the work, then basically make a burst for it on the downwind stretch. T2 right now, he's got his very good friend and compatriot. They've been teammates at the ISA World so many times for Team France. They've competed and traveled all around the world. These guys know each other like brothers. Right now, they're 1 and 2. So T2 goes around the top marker in first. Arthur Rutkin goes around for Team Fanatic in second. Marcus is going to go around in third, but I don't think anyone's going to be able to catch the 2 Frenchies out front as Fiona Wylde almost gets blown off the commentary stool. But Fiona, who's your pick? Make a bold prediction. T2 or Arthur? Who's going to have the most legs?
Oh my goodness. I'm really good friends with Arthur, so I could be pulling for him, but right now it looks like T2's pulling away just a little bit. I'm honestly hoping for a sprint into the finish because I know both of these boys can do that. So T2 right now on the outside hammering away, but Arthur's trying to do his best to not let him give too much. They're both on epic boards and they know they can go both upwind and downwind really well, and the engines that are on top of them are quite strong. So let's cheer him in as they come through the last downwind leg. T2's on a bump and so is Arthur. T2's pulling away just a little bit as he rounds the outside buoy to head on to the second part of the downwind leg. We'll see.
Alrighty, so folks, if you hear it at the Waterfront Park, get down to the finish line because there's not long left in this race and it's going to be a battle royale between the Frenchies out front to the finish. If you're watching online, a great shot from the drone as they disappear into the sun. T2's got a bit of a lead now. So if you're watching online from drone cam, we're following with Arthur Arutkin and Titouan Pouillot. Arthur from Team Fanatic, T2 from Team NSP and the Quick Blade family.
Arthur got him on the last lap, went way inside.
So Arthur made his move at this spot on the last lap, and he's got a nice little bump there, just surfs down, closes the gap, and hammers to about 3 board lengths. As you can see on the drone, T2's going round now. Arthur's just behind him, and T2's got to absolutely hammer here, Fiona.
Look at Arthur's stroke. He does not want to give this up at all. T2's working as hard as he can, and Arthur's trying to close down. He's just hammering. Marcus coming around at the bottom, and the craziest thing is, look at the next group behind. Check out Mo. Mo's the only one who did not do the hot lap early like everybody else did, and he's still holding everybody off. So right now it is T2. Arthur is actually closing on T2. Marcus further behind. Mo would be in 4th. Clement in 5th. Martin Vitry in 6th. Is that Enzo? Enzo in 7th, and Ty Judson in 8th, with a gap back to Noik in 9th.
And Tom Aubert in 10th, if I did my math correctly.
Thank you, Fiona. A quick top 10 as T2 and Arthur head towards what was the first buoy. Now it's the last buoy. We're going to get some drone views as they come all the way back to the beach. They've rounded the tiny little Nash buoy. T2 goes round in first, but he's only got about 2 board lengths. Ladies and gentlemen, time to get excited. Get down to the beach and cheer these boys home. It's going to be a sprint all the way to the line between the 2 Frenchmen. T2 on that NSP or Arthur on the Fanatic. Who's going to get it? T2 just grinding deep. He's got about 2 or 2.5 board lengths. Fiona, I'm getting too excited. Bring it home.
Come on, guys, let's cheer him all the way in. T2's going a little bit high. T2 caught a bump. He's heading down a little bit. Arthur's still trying to go on the high line, seeing if he can stay up above him and then come down. Oh my goodness. Looks like T2's got a little bit too much of a gap. And here he comes on a bump. Let's cheer him in all the way to the finish.
Yeah, T2 just milking these downwind bumps. Even though it's on the side, he's somehow turned the sidewinder into a downwinder on the final stretch. He's milking that NSP board and the quick play paddle all the way to the finish. Cheer loud for him, ladies and gentlemen. Your 2018 Nash Columbia Gorge Paddle Challenge Hot Lap Grand Champion as he gets the spray victory from the quick play crew. T2 takes it out. Arthur second, and for the second year in a row, T2 takes out the hot lap race, Fiona.
Wow, that was an amazing finish. It swapped back and forth so many times. Congratulations, T2. Congratulations, Arthur. What a beautiful race it really was.
Back to back for T2 on. Now we've started the clock. He's 15 seconds right now into the next paddler. So T2 on Puyo, who overall yesterday was 4th place. He was about just under 2 minutes behind Noik. So Noik's got to fight to keep this overall victory, or Clement.
Oh, check out Mo.
So here's Mo Freitas, Enzo Bennett. Mo Freitas making a move. Enzo making a move past Mo Freitas. But we've got the clocks looking out for the overall.
So Enzo Bennett just finished like an absolute rocket representing Team Tahiti and Team 425. He's going to take out 4th spot. Push Mo Freitas down into 5th. Marcus Hansen was 3rd, but here comes for the overall Waterman Award this weekend, Clement Colmas.
He's got to make up a minute, so he made up over T2. So he's in first, but he's got to make up a minute on the week.
Alrighty, so Clement, there's a special award here at the Gorge Paddle Challenge, the overall Waterman and Waterwoman Award. Fiona Wylde has wrapped up the overall Waterwoman Award, but who's going to take it in the men's? So Clement had to make up a minute on Noik Garrioux. I don't think he's going to do it because here comes Noik Garrioux on that green Sonova board, hammering to the finish. How close is it going to be? He's got about 20 seconds to get to the finish line, Noik. Hammer, you got to lift those little chicken legs all the way to the finish line, buddy. Is he going to do it? Amy, what's the clock?
I think so.
Oh. Unofficially, provisionally, I think Noik hung on for about 15 seconds for the overall Waterman Award this weekend. As we see George Cronstedt, Josh Riccio on that F1 board, Werner paddle in hand, coming towards the finish line. Such a stacked field in this hot lap. But wow, what a finish from T2. He was looking so good, just, I believe, 8 seconds outside the top 3 yesterday on the combined behind Bant. Had a great second run. He finished second on the second double downwind leg. He's finished 1 spot better now. Back-to-back hot lap victories here at the Gorge Paddle Challenge as Lincoln Jews makes his way towards the finish.
This could actually be a little bit of an interesting finish. It looks like Lincoln's going to pull it all the way in, but Itzel Delgado from Peru, it's been an awesome few weeks with both of these guys hanging out in Hood River. They're loving it here. Congratulations, guys, on an amazing event and a weekend that is almost done. Nice job, Itzel, and good job, Lincoln.
Yeah, well done, Itzel Delgado, the Peruvian prince. I know his family's watching back home in Peru, so a big shout out to them and all the crew cheering Itzel on for Team Infinity as Leo Nika, one of the winningest athletes of all time in Europe. He's going to jump off that starboard sprint by the looks of it. Hit the beach. Give him a big round of applause. Leo Nika out of Italy, ladies and gentlemen. A very international field here at the Nash Columbia Gorge Paddle Challenge for the 8th annual edition of this classic event. as we get a great drone shot of the Nash tent on the finish line. Our hard-working timers from the WPA are down there getting all the stats. But it looks like, provisionally, we don't want to put words in the timer's mouth, I think Noit Garrier was hung on for the overall Waterman Award, a special kind of one-off award they give here at the Gorge. Fiona took it out in the women's. Noit's going to take it out in the men's as Slater Trout hits the beach for Team Infinity. Great job from Slater there.
Oh, maybe they're not.
As Cody Kerbox now, it's turned into a sidewind, headwind grind this final lap. He just wants to turn around and go downwind all the way up the gorge. But he's got to battle the sidewind all the way to the finish for Team SIC. Give him a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Cody Kerbox. He was 4th at Molokai to Oahu this year, a massive result. He said it's probably the last time he doesn't race on a foil over there in Hawaii. Great job from Cody. And if we pan around, we're going to get a shot of another downwind expert, Matt Nottage out of Australia, a late addition to this year's Gorge Paddle Challenge. There he is on the center of screen if you're watching the live stream. Matt Nottage doing some training for the 11 City Tour, I believe. Excited to head over there in a couple of weeks. And towards the back of the field, somewhere we very rarely see him, but he had an early fall, and that kind of just drained his confidence and motivation. It's Connor Baxter. Connor Baxter's coming in side by side with the Mexican Prince, Fernando Stalla from Team Rowe. Give him a big cheer. Who's going to win the sprint? They're putting on a show for you, folks. Connor Baxter and Fernando Stalla all the way to the line. They're going to cross side by side. Fernando half a metre in front of Connor there. Great finish from the boys. And I believe, Fiona, that's going to wrap up the hot lap here at the Nash Columbia Gorge Paddle Challenge, which was the final event of the weekend. My voice is gone. The racing's gone. It's time to head down to the beer garden, which you're now old enough, barely, to come and join us for a drink with. I'll hand the mic back to my co-commentator, AV, to help wrap this up, because I've lost the voice officially.
It's all of your enthusiasm. It's so exciting. And Fiona, I'm not going to let you go that easy. Some of us weren't here yesterday, but as the racing winds down, we get ready to move over to the awards. Let's just talk about Steve Gates' big wins, the Jet team, and what that's all meant to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve is the one who started Big Wins. A bunch of years ago. I believe 1987 is when they started Big Wins here in town, and since then it's been the shop of town, really, is what it's been. And a few years ago, he started a team. There were 4 of us, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna teach you guys how to paddle." And we're like, "Cool, yeah, we're all windsurfers." So, we're all windsurfers. I'm trying to figure out where the camera is, but yeah, we're all windsurfers and thinking the stand-up paddling thing would be kind of cool to do when there's no wind and doing all that. So, yeah, And then he goes, "Yeah, we're training at 6:30 in the morning." And it's like, imagine telling 4 teenage kids they have to be at the beach at 6:15 in the morning 4 days a week, and you're like, what? But yeah, it's what got the fire started, and since then the program is just growing every year, and it's a pleasure to be able to go down and share time with the kids that are learning how to paddle, and to see them racing this weekend is one of the best rewards that I could ever have as just somebody who loves to be out in the water and sharing that with people and the next generation. And yeah, they're definitely my motivation, and none of this would have been possible, not the event, not, my career, anything like that, without Steve and his family and friends and support behind him.
And the Jet team. So the first 4, it was you, Sophia DeWolf, Ben Grodner, and Allison Fromm. Those are the 4. And we know that Ben Gardner, what's he doing now?
All the athletes are all the kids that we started with. Allison was racing today, and she won the open race. And I know she hasn't been paddling a ton, but for her to go out there and do that today, I mean, her technique was absolutely beautiful, and she raced a super smart race. I know that Sophia has really gotten into filming, and she's all over the country filming all sorts of different things. Ben just graduated university, and he's a full-time engineer now. So everybody's gone in slightly different directions, but everybody also comes back here in the summer to enjoy Hood River and to spend a little bit of time on the water as well.
And Fiona Wylde just decided to become one of the fastest stand-up paddlers in the world. No big deal. So Fiona Wylde going to be the overall champion once again. Unofficial, but it's probably going to be official. That's the third year in a row. You won the downwind race for the third time in a row. The only female to win the downwind race 3 times overall, and you did it 3 times in a row. And you're just incredible. So what do you think we could do to improve this race for next year?
I think the biggest thing about this race is the fact that the whole community is involved with it, and like it is absolutely amazing to come down here and see so many friends and family all cheering and supporting each other, and you know, if a few kids come, then the whole family comes. So I think next year, like if you want to paddle or you know somebody that wants to paddle, bring them on down, because this really is an event for anybody and for everybody. So yeah, the more people out here, the better, and thank you to everybody who has come here this year as well. So really looking forward to next year, and hopefully it'll just be as windy again.
So we have a saying, it's like what they used to say, each one, teach one. You know, that means share your knowledge, but for this, I think it's each one, bring one. So if everyone brings somebody next year, this will be a huge event, and that will be pretty cool to continue to grow this event. I think the prestige, there's always the top, 40, 50, but it'd be awesome to see the men's and women's field increase a little bit more, the small boat field continue to increase. And thank you, Fiona, for being a wonderful host to all of the athletes from all over the world. Thanks to everyone in the production crew with the Paddle League for providing this fun environment for everyone around the world, because I can't wait to go home and watch it. I'm going to get some tips from Fiona as a racer, as a commentator, and as a human being. And I think we're closing this out.
Yeah, I just want to give one final thanks to AV and Fiona for calling that final so well. But the final thank you always goes, for those of you on this live stream, to you who was watching and leaving all the comments. Thank you for being part of this great community, even if you can't get down here to Hood River. But if you can, add this amazing event to your bucket list, the Nash Columbia Gorge Paddle Challenge. It's an absolute classic, and there's no better place to come here and enjoy this amazing sport of ours than Hood River, Oregon. So I believe there we are going to officially wrap up the live stream. Those of you down here at the beach, let's head to the beer garden. Sorry, kids, but thanks for a great weekend, everybody. Thanks to Steve Gates, Nash, all the crew. This has been so much fun again. We'll see you back here next year.